Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Sarah Edens and I'm so happy you chose to join me today. We're talking about wealth mindset. It's something that I reference a lot on my channel, and I realized I've never really sat down and defined what I'm talking about when I talk about wealth mindset. So today we're going to talk about what it is, why it's so critical in your financial journey to adopt a wealth mindset, and then also how you can take some practical steps right now to begin to develop your wealth mindset. So let's jump right into this. So when I was sitting and reflecting on what am I talking about with wealth mindset here on my channel and in what I teach in personal finance, what I came up with is this. A wealth mindset is the belief that you can acquire and grow wealth over time through a combination of three things: smart financial strategies, consistent action, and the resilience to keep going even when setbacks occur. And we'll circle back to each one of these. But again, those three key things are smart financial strategies, consistent action, and the resilience to keep going even and especially when setbacks occur. Having a wealth mindset is also about focusing on opportunities rather than obstacles and believing in your ability to create financial abundance for yourself. And if you follow channels that talk about things like manifesting and abundance mindset, you'll see the difference here when I speak about wealth mindset, because I'm talking about really practical things. There's a lot to be said for manifesting abundance in your life and in your finances and in every aspect of your life. There's a lot about having an abundance mindset that's really great, but a lot of times it leaves you without any practical steps that you can take. And so that's where I really felt like I wanted to come in and change the narrative a little bit around abundance mindset when it comes to personal finance. Because when it comes to finances, you have to have those three things. You have to have a strategy, you have to have consistent action, and you have to have a lot of grit and determination and resilience to keep going, because building wealth is a lifelong process. And so it's something that you have to have a set of strategies in place to be able to build your wealth, as well as that mindset, which is why I talk about both on my channel, right? I talk about wealth mindset, and then we talk about the very basic fundamental finance skills. And I believe that when you put those two things together, wealth mindset and personal finance skills, that's how you unlock your inner millionaire. So that's what we're here on this channel to do today and every day. And I'm all just so happy that you chose to join me. Let's look a little bit more at what wealth mindset is. So one thing that I was thinking about as I was researching this and thinking this through is that a wealth mindset is deeply rooted in having a positive and proactive approach to your financial journey. So that's where we're not talking being Pollyanna with your thinking. We want to be really realistic and practical here, because when it comes to money, it's really important to learn how to not make big financial mistakes over and over and over again, because those are the things that we all make a few of them, especially when we're young and just starting out with managing our money. But it's really important to just begin to move away from making quite so many mistakes, learn from the mistakes that we do make, and then also keep moving forward. And so that's where, if you're just in the beginning phases of managing money on your own and making money on your own, and you're making some mistakes and you're feeling kind of down about it, don't worry, because our mistakes are our absolutely best teachers. So if you take that positive mindset of thinking about any mistakes that you've made in the past financially are your teachers, and thinking about, what can I learn from that experience? And that can be very painful sometimes, to look back at our financial mistakes that we've made in the past. That can be very uncomfortable, but very, very integral and very key to being able to develop your finance skills, is to take that positive approach to even your mistakes. And then going forward, begin to build your confidence in money management as well, and begin to grow your confidence and watch where you're starting to make better and better decisions and where things are going well. So having that attitude of positivity and belief in yourself and starting to build your confidence around money is really important. I think a lot of times people are not very confident around money. They might be very confident in many other aspects of their life, but when it comes to money, they might feel really intimidated or really stressed. I know particularly many women who I speak with when I talk about what I do for a living here on YouTube, teaching personal finance. They say, oh my goodness, better you than me. My finances are just such a black box, and I find them so overwhelming and so stressful. And that's something that I want to help you change for yourself, if you're in that position where you feel like your money and your finances are very highly stressful, perhaps they're a source of personal stress for you, perhaps they're a source of relationship stress, that we can begin to move you through that phase to the point where you're building a lot of confidence in yourself, that you can manage your own money, because it's something we have to do throughout our adult lives. And so the sooner that we learn from our mistakes and take that positive approach towards our finances, the better, and start to build that confidence, and then start to build up a track record of good decisions that we made over time. Little by little, that'll help build your confidence. So that's a big piece of it with wealth mindset, is having that positive, confident approach towards your money. Another one is being able to recognize and seize opportunities, even in less than ideal circumstances. So this is something that I was really inspired by when I was doing my 2-part series on Warren Buffett, which I will link to in the description below. He has so many great quotes about taking opportunities and taking advantage of opportunities that come up, and having that mindset of being able and willing to just constantly kind of be scanning your environment for financial opportunities. It's a big piece of how he built his wealth, with buying undervalued companies and selling in then not worthless companies, of course, but just undervalued companies, getting them for a good price, and then being able to make a lot of money off them as they grew. So he was probably one of the best people that I can think of, who is just absolutely phenomenal at spotting opportunities and taking advantage of opportunities as they come his way. So that's something that's key as well, is just being able to spot opportunities as they come your way and start taking advantage of those. And I'll put a quote up on screen. He has like a great quote about taking advantage of opportunities and being ready to run out there with a bucket and not a thimble, to be able to just start really grasping life by the horns and finding the ways that you can really make the most out of any situation. So that's a really important thing to begin to develop as well. And then the next thing that you want to think about too is how you look at wealth. So rather than narrowly defining being wealthy as being rich, you want to think about having kind of more of a holistic view of wealth, in terms of having a life that's really satisfying and fulfilling for you, having work that brings you joy while also making good money, and being able to make sure that you're taking time to invest in your health and invest in your relationships and all those really important things that at the end of the day is what life is all about. Life is not about money. Money is a tool that helps us live our lives to the best of our abilities and be able to make the most of our experiences and opportunities and give back to the people in our community, take care of ourselves and our needs. But money is not, at the end of the day, the most important thing in life. And so also being able to think as well about why you're building wealth, really kind of start to really identify what is your why, about why do you want to change your financial situation. Your goal may not be to be a millionaire by any means. That may not be your goal, but just in terms of why are you wanting to get to a point where maybe you've got a better mindset around money. Maybe you've got some of those better finance skills and you're putting those things together. Maybe you're looking at getting out of debt. Maybe you're looking at either improving your professional skills, your professional network. Maybe you're looking at getting a new job that pays better. And so as you put these things together, it's really important to really think about your why. Why are you doing this? Are you doing this so that you can have a job that pays better, so that you can shore up your financial future? Are you wanting to provide particular opportunities for your loved ones and for your kids? Kind of what is your thought process behind why you're building wealth? Because that's always really good to know, is to not get too sucked into just, well, I want to get rich or whatever, but really think about, well, why do I want to be rich? Why am I pursuing this particular goal at this point in my life? What do I have in mind with that? So that's something to think through as well. And then also too, it's good to be able to realize that as you develop this wealth mindset, you will then be able to set meaningful goals. You'll be able to start aligning your financial behavior with your values, and you'll create a legacy that extends beyond your own lifetime. That's really the goal, is to be able to have so much wealth that you're building that you not only are able to take care of all your needs today, but you're able to help your kids, your grandchildren in the future. You're able to make a difference for the next generation. You're able to support charities in your community or around the globe that are making a difference for the next generation. So as well, looking at that as kind of multi-generational wealth that you're building, not just for yourself right here, right now, but what's your impact, what's your legacy that you're trying to build. So those are all the things that I really feel like go into wealth mindset. And again, it really comes back down to the smart financial strategies, which I talk so much about on my channel. I have so many playlists that you can link, watch here about how to budget, how to save, how to manage credit, all different things. And I'm constantly adding to those playlists. And then taking consistent action, which is so important, because that way you're not just like getting really motivated. You maybe watched a couple of finance videos and you're like, wow, I'm going to change my life. And then you get overwhelmed and that's the last action that you take. And no shame in that, because sometimes as we're building new habits, it's like a one step forward and two steps back and one step forward and two steps back. It can take some time. If you're looking for a really good book about how to build better habits, whether that's financial habits or other habits, I would highly recommend James Clear's Atomic Habits. Wonderful book. I'll link to it in the description. It's a book that has really revolutionized the way I live my life, as well as the way I teach here on YouTube about finance and money habits. And so that's a really good resource for you as well if you're struggling with where maybe you're good at taking kind of one-off action, but in terms of consistent, everyday, kind of doing the stuff that feels really boring, like, remembering to budget, remembering to save, if you choose to invest, remembering to add to your investment portfolio, and keeping your credit cards paid off and learning money skills. Those can all seem kind of dull sometimes and boring, but just that consistent everyday action eventually is going to get you where you want to go. So a lot of it's not glamorous, but it's just that commitment to consistent action in your financial life. And then, like we said, the resilience to keep going even when setbacks occur, because we all have financial setbacks. And like I was talking about earlier, some of those setbacks are huge. Some of the money mistakes that you make in your life can be really massive and feel like, oh my gosh, we're never going to recover from this. And so it's just, again, taking that mindset of trying to stay positive, even in bad situations, and reaching out for help when you need it. But just really having that commitment to say, okay, fine, I lost some money on this situation. This job didn't turn out well. This purchase didn't turn out well. This investment didn't turn out well, whatever the case might be. But then being able to just say, okay, fine, I'm just going to kind of brush myself off and, try to find some things that I can learn here and then just keep moving forward. And that's really what resilience is all about, is just that commitment to just don't let life kind of knock you down and let you stay down. Just keep getting back up and get help if you need help getting back up, for sure. Don't try to go it alone if you're just really overwhelmed and stressed. There's a lot of great financial advisors and financial planners out there, and then also therapists. Sometimes you'll find people who are therapists and financial advisors who are doing both. So just reach out for help as you need it. As always, I talk a lot about that on my channel. We're in this together. And so it's really good to always reach out for help when you need it. And then I promised you I'd talk about some practical steps that you can take right now to really start to build your wealth mindset. So here were 5 that I thought of, and I'm sure I will think of more, and so we'll do more videos on this in the future. But the first one is to start focusing on what you can control right here, right now. So that's something that, we don't have control over the future. We don't have control over the economy. My goodness, like there's so many things that we have zero control over, right? So just really focus when it comes to your finances, focus on what you have control over, such as, your mindset towards money, your skills around money and personal finance, how much you're tracking your expenses, how much you're choosing to continue to learn and educate yourself about finance. So that's something that you can control. So really focus on the things that you can control and start really doing more in those areas, and maybe less about worrying about all the stuff that can go wrong that we can't control, like losing your job, having a major health problem that might affect your ability to earn money, the economy going into recession, all kinds of different things that we have no control over at all. And instead choose to focus on the things that you can. That kind of gets back to that resilience as well. Number 2 is to build those strong financial habits first. And this is kind of interesting because earlier this week I was seeing on social media that I've started to see kind of in the finance sector when I look at some of the advice other finance coaches are giving. And this isn't new at all by any means, and everybody's got their own approach. But you will see finance professionals who will say, oh, well, don't worry about budgeting. Just make sure that you're saving, make sure that you're investing, and then just sort of like do whatever you want to with that other chunk of money that's left. And if that works for you, wonderful. But my method is called zero-sum budgeting. It's kind of like a combination between zero-sum budgeting and the envelope system. I've got a playlist on budgeting that I'll link to in the description, as well as how to use my exact method that I use in Excel. If you're really wanting to be exact and precise about exactly where every last dollar goes, zero-sum budgeting just means that you account for every last dollar that comes in. So you're going to take your income, and then you'll take out how much you're going to put in savings, how much you're going to invest, how much needs to go towards bills, and then figure out, okay, out of that, then how much fund money do I have left? And then at the end of that, after you've tallied all that up, then that comes to like you've accounted for every last dollar. That's just my method personally, but I really get a little nervous when I see finance professionals telling people, oh, well, just don't worry about budgeting. It's so boring, whatever. Yes, it is boring, but the boring things that we take consistent action on every single day are the ones that eventually get us really good at building those strong money habits. So that's something that I would really highly encourage you to just keep building your budgeting skills, keep committing to saving. If you invest, keep working on your investment skills and hire an investment advisor if you have questions about how to build your portfolio that way. There's so many resources out there about like learning how to invest. The other thing about investing too is I always recommend do not invest any money that you're not willing to lose. So if you have a certain amount of money and it would really upset you if you lost it, do not invest it. There are other places that you can put it to grow your wealth, such as high yield savings accounts, certificates of deposit, things like that are available through your bank that are not invested, that are FDIC insured. Investments, you just have to realize, a lot of people say, oh, invest. That's the only way to build your wealth. Well, yes and no, because if you make investments without knowing what you're doing, you can lose a lot of money. And so it's really important to have guidance as you go through that. And that's not something that I advise on here on my channel with specific investments or like the strategies and so forth. But there are so many channels out there that they are specifically dedicated to helping you learn how to do that. And like I said, there's financial advisors and investment advisors who you can also hire. So just definitely reach out for some help and resources that way if you are considering investing as a way to grow your wealth. But it's a really fun process. I just got into it myself this year. And I've been doing it myself. I took an online course about how to invest and how to set up my portfolio and so forth. And then I just work on it a little bit every day or every other day where I'll just like learn a little bit more. I'll try some new things. I'll shift my strategy around a little bit. I'll do some research. It's really quite a fun process when you get into it. But again, kind of going into that knowing that you're fine with losing whatever money you put in there, because long term, if you build a solid portfolio and you're not invested in like super risky speculative assets, you are going to build your wealth over time, even though the market obviously fluctuates with the economy. However, like I said, it's really important to have your portfolio set up appropriately. And there's lots of great resources online about that as well. So check that out as you have questions. But that's just kind of another thing that comes down to, practically speaking, how do you start building a wealth mindset is to really focus on those strong financial habits first, and then worry about becoming a millionaire later. Get really good at those money habits. Number 3 is to educate yourself about money. So we touched on this before. You're doing that now, being here watching my channel. So congratulations to you as well for being here and learning and educating yourself about personal finance. It's not something that we learned in school. There is a push now that I'm starting to see for high schools and colleges to require that students take at least one course in money management, like to teach the very basics of budgeting and saving, for example, before they can graduate. And I really hope that school districts move in that direction and colleges and universities move in that direction. I would have been so benefited in my late teens and early 20s when I was learning how to manage money. I would have been so benefited by having some practical money skills in my back pocket to be able to pull out and use. So that's really great. But today we have so many wonderful resources that are available for free, whether that's podcasts, YouTube channels, books, and so forth. So just take as much time as you have and really dedicate to continuing to learn. There's obviously online courses as well. So just take whatever time that you have and are able to dedicate to continuing to learn about personal finance, and that will continue to help you become stronger in that area as well over time. Number four, as you're building your wealth mindset, is practicing gratitude. And I think that the best book that I've ever read about practicing gratitude and working on your mindset towards money, and one that really influenced me and actually inspired me to both start becoming an investor myself and then also to work in personal finance, was Ken Honda's Happy Money. If you haven't read it, it's a wonderful book. I will link to it in the description. But Happy Money is just such a fantastic book, and it's so uplifting and it's so positive, and he's got so many great ideas and thoughts for you there. But really, the key is to just really start focusing on, the money that you have right now, even if it's not a lot, and be grateful for it. If you have enough money to pay your bills, start practicing gratitude for that. If you have enough money to buy groceries this week, start practicing gratitude for that. So those are all really, really valuable things that you can start to work on, and definitely check out Ken Honda's Happy Money if you need some inspiration on that front. And then my final tip for kind of practical ideas for how to build a wealth mindset is to be persistent. This really gets back to taking consistent action and that concept of resilience. But just realize that building wealth is a lifelong process, and it is a marathon, not a sprint. So don't feel like you have to absorb every last little bit of information right this minute, and if you don't get it right, it's game over. No, this is something that you're going to be working on a little bit at a time throughout your adult life. And so just kind of realize that you'll learn things, you'll find things that resonate with you, you'll find coaches and teachers who resonate with you. You'll find strategies that work better or worse for you. Kind of everybody's learning style is different. So just find the resources that work the best for you and speak the most to you and your situation. And then just start trying new things. Start experimenting with the best way to structure your budgets that's the least stressful for you and the most sustainable. Just things like that, where you can really just realize that this is kind of like a long-term process that you're in, and to kind of take a deep breath and think about things from a little bit bigger picture perspective. Okay, well, that is everything I have for you today on developing a wealth mindset, what it is, some of my thoughts on that, and some practical points to kind of get you started. And thank you so much for joining me for today's video, and I will see you again soon.